What if one of the healthy foods you trust every single day is actually raising your blood sugar without you realizing it? This is more common than you think, and it's one of the biggest hidden problems behind why so many people struggle with diabetes, even when they believe they are eating right. Many of these so-called healthy foods that raise blood sugar are marketed as good choices, but in reality, they can act as blood sugar spike foods and quietly worsen your condition over time. The truth is, not all healthy foods are created equal. Some of the worst healthy foods for diabetics are the ones that seem harmless foods labeled as natural, low fat, or even diabetic friendly. These often contain hidden sugar foods diabetes experts warn about, or they are high in fast digesting carbs that spike blood sugar quickly. That's why understanding what foods increase blood sugar is more important than simply following general healthy eating advice. Here's something most people don't talk about. Your body doesn't react to labels, it reacts to glucose impact. A food can look healthy on the outside but still trigger a strong glucose response depending on your metabolism, insulin resistance, and timing of consumption. This is where many diabetes food mistakes happen, especially when people rely on trends instead of understanding how their body responds. What makes this even more dangerous is that these spikes don't always feel immediate. You might eat something you believe is healthy, feel fine, and only later realize your levels are higher than expected. Over time, this pattern can lead to more instability, making it harder to control your glucose and increasing the risk of complications. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but your numbers don't reflect that effort, this could be the missing piece. In this video, you will start to see food differently, not just as healthy or unhealthy, but as something that directly influences your blood sugar and your long-term health. One of the biggest frustrations for people living with diabetes is doing everything right and still seeing high blood sugar levels. You follow what looks like the best diet for diabetes control. Choose foods labeled as healthy and avoid obvious sugar, but your numbers still don't improve. So what's really going on? The answer often lies in misunderstanding how certain foods interact with your body. Many people don't realize that foods that worsen diabetes are not always the obvious ones. In fact, some of the most common foods diabetics should not eat are considered part of a healthy diet. This is where the confusion begins. You might be eating foods that spike blood sugar quickly without even noticing, especially when they are marketed as nutritious or natural. Another key factor is how your body responds to these foods over time. Your metabolism and blood sugar are deeply connected, and if you're frequently consuming carbs that spike blood sugar, your body may struggle to keep levels stable. This leads to a cycle where your glucose rises more easily, even when you're trying to make better choices. It's not just about what you eat, but how often and in what combination. Here's something most people overlook. Timing and patterns matter just as much as food choice. Two people can eat the same meal, and one experiences a spike while the other doesn't. Why? Because of differences in insulin resistance, sleep quality, stress levels, and daily diet habits. This is why generic advice often fails. It doesn't consider your unique response. Understanding why healthy foods spike blood sugar is the turning point. Once you realize that not all good foods work for your body the same way, you begin to shift from guessing to making intentional decisions. This is how real progress starts, not by restricting everything, but by learning how your body reacts and adjusting your habits with awareness. One of the biggest diabetes food mistakes people make is trusting the word healthy without understanding what it actually does to their blood sugar. Just because something is labeled as natural, organic, or low fat doesn't mean it won't act as one of those foods that spike blood sugar quickly. In fact, many of the worst healthy foods for diabetics are exactly the ones people consume daily thinking they are making the right choice. Think about how often you've chosen something because it seemed like a smarter option. A fruit smoothie, a granola bar, or a light snack. These are often seen as part of healthy eating tips, but they can behave like hidden sugar foods diabetes experts warn about. They digest fast, raise glucose levels quickly, and create those unexpected spikes that leave you confused about your results. Here's something that most people have never been told. The form of the food matters just as much as the food itself. When foods are processed, blended, or stripped of fiber, they become carbs that spike blood sugar much faster. That's why the same fruit can have a completely different effect depending on how you consume it. This is one of the most overlooked diabetes diet mistakes, and fixing it can immediately improve your glucose control. Another hidden factor is combination. Eating carbohydrates alone, even from foods considered healthy, can turn them into blood sugar spike foods. But when you combine them with protein, fiber, or healthy fats, the absorption slows down and your body responds more steadily. This is how you start learning how to control blood sugar with food in a practical and sustainable way. If this is opening your eyes, don't wait to take control. Subscribe now to Health Inside MD and like this video, because most people never discover these hidden patterns. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you stop making the same mistakes that keep your blood sugar out of control. To really understand why some healthy foods that raise blood sugar can harm your progress, you need to look at what's happening inside your body. When you eat certain foods, especially those with a high glycemic index, your blood sugar rises quickly. These are the classic foods that spike blood sugar quickly, and even when they seem harmless, they can create a strong glucose response that your body struggles to manage. The difference between low glycemic foods versus high glycemic foods is not just about numbers, it's about how fast your body absorbs and reacts to them. High glycemic foods break down rapidly, sending a surge of glucose into your bloodstream. In response, your body releases insulin to bring those levels down. But when this happens repeatedly, especially with blood sugar spike foods disguised as healthy options, your system starts to become less efficient. Here's the part most people never hear. Every spike trains your body. Over time, frequent spikes can increase insulin resistance, making it harder for your cells to respond properly. This means your body needs more insulin to do the same job, and your glucose levels stay elevated for longer. This is one of the hidden ways foods that worsen diabetes silently impact your health. Another important factor is how metabolism and blood sugar interact in the morning and throughout the day. Hormones like cortisol can naturally raise your glucose, and when combined with the wrong food choices, the effect becomes even stronger. This is why some people experience higher readings even when they believe they are eating correctly. Understanding this process changes everything. Instead of guessing, you begin to see patterns. You realize that controlling diabetes isn't just about avoiding sugar, it's about managing how your body responds to all types of food. Once you start recognizing which foods trigger spikes and why, you gain the ability to make smarter, more strategic decisions that support long-term glucose stability. Now that you understand how certain healthy foods that raise blood sugar can work against you, the next step is knowing what to do instead. The goal isn't to eliminate everything you enjoy, but to make smarter choices that help stabilize your glucose and support a better metabolism and blood sugar balance. Throughout the day, one of the most effective strategies is learning how to replace blood sugar spike foods with more balanced alternatives. For example, instead of consuming refined carbs that spike blood sugar quickly, you can choose options that combine fiber, protein, and healthy fats. This slows down digestion and helps prevent those sudden spikes that make diabetes harder to manage. Here's something most people don't realize. The order in which you eat your food can change your blood sugar response. Starting your meal with protein or fiber before eating carbs can reduce the impact on your glucose levels. This simple shift is rarely talked about, but it's one of the easiest ways to improve how to control blood sugar with food without making drastic changes to your diet. Another important factor is choosing the right type of carbohydrates. Understanding low glycemic foods versus high glycemic foods allows you to make better decisions without feeling restricted. Whole foods like vegetables, legumes, and minimally processed grains tend to release glucose more slowly, helping you maintain stable levels and avoid the roller coaster effect. It's also important to recognize that healthy eating tips for diabetes are not about perfection, but consistency. Small daily adjustments in your nutrition for diabetics can have a powerful long-term effect. When you focus on balance instead of extremes, your body responds better, insulin resistance improves, and your glucose becomes easier to manage. This is how real change happens, not by cutting everything out, but by understanding your food, adjusting your habits, and creating a routine that works with your body instead of against it. Over time, these small changes turn into a sustainable lifestyle that supports long-term blood sugar control and overall health. Another crucial aspect of managing diabetes is understanding hidden sugars in foods you might consider healthy. Even products marketed as natural or low-fat can contain ingredients that quickly turn into glucose in your bloodstream. These hidden sugar foods diabetes warnings are not always obvious, and many people unknowingly consume them daily, thinking they are making safe choices. This is one of the main reasons why blood sugar spikes after eating continue despite careful meal planning. Here's something few people consider. Timing and combination are as important as the food itself. Eating fruits or certain snacks alone can create a fast glucose spike, but pairing them with protein, healthy fats, or fiber slows absorption and keeps your level stable. This subtle adjustment is often overlooked. Yet, it can make a huge difference in daily glucose management and insulin response. A simple but powerful tip that most don't know is keeping a food journal and tracking your reactions. Writing down what you eat, when you eat it, and how your blood sugar responds allows you to identify which foods trigger spikes and which maintain stable levels. This personalized approach is far more effective than generic diet advice because it's tailored to your body and your metabolism. It's also important to remember that metabolism in the morning and hormonal fluctuations like cortisol can amplify the effect of hidden sugars. Even a seemingly safe, healthy food can create a bigger spike at certain times of the day, making timing and awareness essential. When you combine this knowledge with smart choices, you gain real control over your blood sugar instead of just reacting to spikes after they happen. Controlling diabetes and managing morning blood sugar spikes isn't about restricting yourself or feeling deprived. It's about making smart swaps that actually work. Understanding healthy foods that raise blood sugar is the first step. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that healthy automatically means safe. But hidden sugars, refined carbs, and even some fruits can elevate glucose levels. The key is to replace these problem foods with alternatives that satisfy your nutritional needs while keeping your blood sugar stable. For example, swapping high glycemic breakfast cereals for a mix of protein, fiber, and low glycemic carbohydrates can drastically reduce the spike after waking up. Pairing eggs or Greek yogurt with berries and seeds provides a combination that stabilizes insulin and keeps morning blood sugar within a safer range. Another powerful approach is focusing on the glycemic index of foods rather than their calorie content. Many people mistakenly prioritize low-calorie options without considering how quickly those foods release glucose into the bloodstream. Foods that spike blood sugar quickly are often disguised as healthy, such as certain granolas, smoothies with fruit concentrates, or natural juices. By identifying these hidden sugar foods diabetes experts warn about, and replacing them with slower-absorbing options like oatmeal, chia seeds, and leafy greens, you can manage blood sugar more effectively without feeling restricted. This isn't about avoiding carbs entirely, but about pairing them strategically with protein and fiber to blunt glucose spikes. Portion size also plays a crucial role in maintaining consistent fasting blood sugar levels. Even foods that are considered low glycemic can cause a noticeable rise in glucose if portions are too large or consumed too quickly. One ineditor tactic is to plate your meals or measure portions in advance, which helps you develop intuitive control over how much glucose enters your system. Combining this with daily monitoring allows you to see how your choices affect your blood sugar over time, giving you a personalized understanding of which swaps work best for your body. In addition to food swaps, timing matters. Eating the same foods at different times can produce very different responses due to hormone fluctuations like cortisol and variations in insulin sensitivity throughout the day. Incorporating movement after meals, drinking water, or spacing out snacks can enhance the effectiveness of these smart swaps. For instance, replacing a mid-morning muffin with a boiled egg and handful of nuts not only reduces the glycemic load, but also provides satiety, energy, and micronutrients essential for metabolism in the morning. Another less discussed but highly effective strategy is to enhance flavor and satisfaction without adding hidden sugars. Herbs, spices, and healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, or nuts can be used to transform meals that might otherwise be bland or triggering into balanced options that support steady blood sugar. Many people underestimate how much enjoyment and satisfaction influence adherence to a diabetes-friendly diet, and this psychological aspect is just as important as the nutritional calculations. By making swaps that are both delicious and effective, you are more likely to stick with them consistently, which drives real results in fasting blood sugar and post-meal spikes. It's also essential to consider individual differences. Two people can eat the same healthy breakfast and experience entirely different blood sugar responses. This makes tracking essential. Testing glucose before and after meals, observing responses to various swaps, and adjusting based on personal data ensures that your choices are scientifically informed, personalized, and sustainable. This data-driven approach allows you to go beyond generic advice and optimize your daily diet habits for type 2 diabetes or general blood sugar management. Finally, integrating these smart swaps into a lifestyle rather than viewing them as temporary fixes is what leads to long-term success. Learning how to control fasting blood sugar naturally, understanding what foods increase blood sugar, and applying consistent, strategic substitutions will stabilize glucose patterns, improve insulin sensitivity, and prevent diabetes complications over time. Each swap builds on the previous, creating a compounding effect where your body gradually adapts to healthier patterns without feeling deprived. By focusing on substitution, timing, portion, and personalization, you turn ordinary meals into powerful tools for glucose control, metabolism support, and overall health improvement. In conclusion, remember that the goal isn't to be afraid of food, but to truly understand how diet and glucose levels are connected, so you can make smarter choices every day. What you consistently eat has a huge impact on your long-term health and longevity. And this information isn't just for today, it's for building habits that last a lifetime. If this message helped you see food in a different light, subscribe to the channel and like the video, because every tip here was designed to help you control your glucose and improve your well-being. And leave a comment saying, "This message opened my eyes, so I know you made it to the end." You are now part of the Health Insight MD community, and staying connected means you always have the knowledge to make better decisions, improve your daily habits, and protect your health for many years to come. Don't stop here, there's a video right next to this that delves even deeper into how to manage diabetes simply in your daily life. So click and stay with me there to continue building this knowledge step by step.